والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. Today بإذن الله تعالى يوم الأربعاء ليلة الخميس, the 27th of Dhul Hijjah 1424 Hijri, which is the 17th of February 2004. We study the work again, inshaAllah ta'ala, of the great Imam, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, the Aqidah that he wrote to the people of Wasit, being explained by the great scholar and faqih, Shaykh al-Islam in his own right, Awais Abdullah Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen, rahimahullah rahmatun wasi'ah. Before we go into that, there's a question that keeps coming up, and la'alla, or the reason probably that it keeps coming up is because we have many books out. Walillah alhamd, many books have been translated. Some of them are good translations, some of them are bad, some of them are in between that. Not so good, not so bad. And due to this expansion of knowledge, if you will, as-salam rahmatullah, people of course are exposed to various viewpoints regarding issues. And that's fine, as long as the one who is relaying these views or is the possessor or conveyor of these views is a scholar. When it comes, if it comes into being a translator or a student of knowledge, then this takes on another problem. Nevertheless, this issue of tafweed or mufawwad of Ibn Qudama, rahimahullah, we dealt with it before. We answered the question when it was asked, based upon what we had previously studied, being, as they say, ta'al al-ahad bihadhi mas'ala, and it's been a long time going into this matter or from studying this matter. And generally when you go to an issue that you haven't been dealing with after a while or for a long time, it's more open to mistakes. But alhamdulillah, I found in this case that what I was stating was correct, and the wording similar to it is the wording of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah in this regard. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, who explained the book Lumad I'tiqad. And there's a book out there called The Methodology of the Salaf or Salafiyah, which is a translation of some lectures that Shaykh Nasruddin al-Albani gave, rahimahullah, and then was put in the book form. I believe this is the case. And I haven't had a chance to look at it or go thoroughly to it. But one of the brothers sent me an email quoting from it that Ibn Qudama made a mistake in his Lumad I'tiqad. They used the name of Shaykh Abdul Razzaq Afifi, who's a great alim and great scholar, great mufti. He was a na'ib, he was the second mufti or second man to Shaykh bin Baz. And they quote him. I don't know how far the quotation goes or how accurate it is, but Shaykh Ibn Qudama aired in Lumad I'tiqad and he is mufawwad. In the translation that Abu Maryam did of explanation of sufficiency in creed, which is by Ibn Qudama, which is in Arabic called Lumad al-I'tiqad, explained by Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, on pages 29 and 30 in the footnotes he says, and this is a quote of Muhammad Ibrahim Ali Sheikh, as well I believe as Ibn Uthaymeen. Yeah, Ibn Uthaymeen also, because they qultu, I say. Shaykh Muhammad Ibrahim Ali Sheikh said, in regard to the saying of the author, we are obligated to affirm its wording. As for the words of the author of al-Jama'ah, which is Ibn Qudama, then the statement is from that which has been remarked upon in this creed. Many people have said that this is incorrect for him to have said it like that. Right? And a number of other statements against the author have been remarked on also. This is since the view of al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah is to have firm iman in what has been established in the Qur'an and the Sunnah with regard to Allah's names and attributes, both its wording and as well as its meaning. And we must believe that these names and attributes are in their actual literal sense, not figurative, and that they bear actual meanings that are befitting to Allah's honor and grandness. The proofs of this are too many to be taken into account. The meanings of these names are clear and well known from the Qur'an, just like anything else. There is no obscurity, vagueness, or mystery in them. The companions of the Messenger of Allah took the Qur'an from him and they reported the hadith on him. They did not find any confusion in the meanings of these ayat and the hadith that contains Allah's names and attributes, because they were clear and explicit. This goes the same for those that came after them from the noble generations. As has been stated or reported on by Imam Malik rahimahullah, when he was asked concerning Allah saying, the most merciful rose over the throne, so he rahimahullah said, the rising is well known, the how of it is unknown, believing in its obligation, and asking about its innovation. Something bearing a similar meaning to this has been reported on Rabi'ah. I would say from Rabi'ah, the teacher of Malik, and has been reported on Salama or from Salama in marfu and mawquf form. As for the true nature of the attribute and how it is, then no one knows of that except Allah, the one free of all defects. This is since the talk concerning the attribute is like the talk concerning the one being attributed to. So in this same manner that no one knows how Allah is except for him, then likewise for his attributes. And this is what Imam Malik meant when he said, how it is unknown. As for what has been stated here in Lum'ah, then it is in conformity with the views of Tafweed, and that is from the most evil and vilest of views. The author, may Allah have mercy on him, this once again, Sheikh Muhammad Ibrahim al-Sheikh. Now I'm saying the author, meaning he's talking about Ibn Qudama. The author, may Allah have mercy upon him, was an imam of the Sunnah. And he was the father of people from the view of Tafweed and all other innovatory beliefs concerning Allah's names and attributes. And Allah knows best. May Allah send his peace and his blessings upon Muhammad, his family and his companions. This is a quote from Fatawa wa Rasail of Sheikh Muhammad Ibrahim, prepared and arranged by Muhammad ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Qasim. Ibn Taymiyyah says, I say, and whoever references the other works of Ibn Qudama rahimahullah will know with certainty that he is extremely far from the view of those who claim tafweed, mufawwidun, as well as those who did ta'wil. This is especially in the case with his book, Dhamu Ta'wil, which is the book I mentioned. Dhamu Ta'wil, and dispraise of Ta'wil, in which he refutes those who perform Ta'wil as well as those who take after them from the book of the people of Tafweed. And he confirms in that book the views of Ahl Sunnah, such as faith in what Allah has established in the Qur'an and Sunnah regarding Allah's names and attributes, both in wording and in meaning. So what has been mentioned on Ibn Qudama here in his saying we are obligated to affirm his wording is from his general and vague expressions, which are explained and interpreted more explicitly, clearly, and lucidly in his other works. Thus, it is necessary to turn to his more clearer sayings. May Allah have mercy on him. So everything that is mentioned from him that can be seen to be taken one way or another, then it's necessary to turn to the more accurate of his sayings found in the rest of his work. And Allah is the Most High, and He knows best, and I hope we have put that to rest. Where we're at in the text of Aqidah al Wasitiyyah, after he explained the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and don't worry, I'm not going to ask you what it is. Sirat al-Ladhina an'amta alayhim. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you who are those an'amta alayhim, the four groups. Maybe next time. To explain all of this, he then said, وَهَذَا الصِّرَاطَ الَّذِي جَاءَ بِهِ رُسُلٌ. This is the path that the messengers came with. هُوَ صِرَاطَ هَؤُلَاءِ الْأَصْنَافِ الْأَرْبَعَةِ. It is the path of these four groups. And other than them, and other than these four groups, and other than these asnaf, really types, other than these four types, لَا يَمْشُونَ عَلَى مَا جَاءَتْ بِهِ رُسُلٌ. They don't walk up on what the messengers came. Meaning they are not up on what? The straight path. The only ones upon the straight path are from these four, like this. لا يمشون على ما جاء به الرسل. Now he says, قوله, his statement. وقد دخل في هذه الجملة ما وصف الله به نفسه في سورة الإخلاص التي تعدل ثلث القرآن حيث يقول قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Surah Al-Ikhlas, verses 1 to 4. And what enters into this statement, or this jumla, this sentence, is what Allah has described himself with in Surah Al-Ikhlas, which is equal to a third of the Qur'an, wherein Allah says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. For He, Allah, is the one. Allahu Samad. And we'll leave it like that because He'll explain it. لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Sharh, his explanation. قوله, his statement. دخل في هذه جملة. The Shaykh could mean when he says enters into this jumla, into this sentence, into this paragraph, into what we've taken before. Can mean that يريد بها قوله, his statement, that Allah Ta'ala has gathered, when He describes Himself, He has gathered between a nafi wal ithbat, between that which He affirms and that which He denies. Could also mean that what He means by that, what enters into this, is that al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah, the people of Sunnah, those who gather upon it, describe Allah Ta'ala in a manner that He has described Himself with, or the qualities He has described Himself with, and what the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described Allah with. وَأَيِّ كَانَ. And he even wonder whether he means this or he means that. فَإِنَّ هَذِهِ سُورَةً وَمَا بَعْدَهَا. This surah that he's bringing here, and the surahs and ayat that he'll bring after that, includes all of this. And it is from what Allah has described Himself with. When you hear this surah, this is something that Allah has described Himself with. And you hear the other ayat that He's going to bring. He's now bringing adillah, evidences. You're going to be hearing how Allah describes Himself to us. That Allah has gathered in what He has described Himself with the nafi, things that He denied, that He rejects, that He's high above and removed from. Wal isbat, things that He has confirmed and affirmed and approved for Himself. When al Sunnah, and the people of Sunnah, يؤمنون بذلك. They believe in all of that. يؤمنون بذلك. They believe in all of that. قوله في سورة الإخلاص, the statement in Surah Al-Ikhlas, السورة, what is a surah? هي عبارة عن آيات من كتاب الله. It is an expression of verses from the book of Allah. It is the way that you express that a group of verses are together, munfasila, cut off from any other, from that which came before it and that which came after it. كالبناء الذي أحاط به سور, like a building which has a fence around it. Like a building that has a fence around it. So in that way it's called a surah. So these ayat are connected or collected here together, and they are separate from anything that came before or after. So that's what the word surah means in this respect. وقالوا سورة الإخلاص, al-Ikhlas shay, when you say ikhlas of something, it means tanqiyatuhu, to purify it. I need to purify it, tanqiyah. التي نقيت ولم يشبهها شيء, something that's been purified and nothing dirties it. وسميت بذلك, has been called that, and he has different statements here. قيل, because it has been said, because it includes al-ikhlas, sincerity to Allah Azza wa Jal. وأن من آمن بها فهو مخلص, and the one who believes in Allah Ta'ala and believes in the ayat of Allah Ta'ala and the oneness of Allah Ta'ala and sincere to Allah Ta'ala, فهو مخلص, he is sincere. فتكون بمعنى مخلصة لقارئها. And in other words, to believe in this ayah, that's what he meant. Now this surah includes sincerity to Allah Azza wa Jal, وأن من آمن بها, who believes in the surah, فهو مخلص. That's easy to remember, right? فهو مخلص. فتكون بمعنى مخلصة, يعني he's sincere, يعني لقارئها. أي أن الإنسان, the person, إذا قرأها مؤمنا بها, the one who reads it or recites it and he believes in it, فقد أخلص لله عز وجل, then he's someone sincere to Allah عز وجل. وقيل, and it's also been said, لأنها مخلصة بفتح اللام, مخلصة, because Allah Ta'ala has chosen it for himself. He didn't mention in this surah any ahkam, any legislation, nor did he mention any other akhbar, any other information. But it's all about him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, khasa, particularly about him. وَالْوَجْهَانِ صَحِيحَانِ, both aspects are true, and there's no contradiction between the two. So both are what? Acceptable. Whether it's called Surah Al-Ikhlas, because the individual who believes in it, that, believes in the ayah, is sincere to Allah Ta'ala. When he recites it, he believes in what it contains, so therefore he mukhlas. Or whether it's called Surah Ikhlas because it's mukhalasa, meaning that Allah Ta'ala chose it for himself, didn't mention anything or anyone in it but himself. They don't go contradict one another, so both of them are what? Acceptable. وَقَوْلُهُ, his statement, that which equals a third of the Qur'an. الدليل, what is the evidence? قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لأصحابه, the statement of the Prophet ﷺ to his companions. Are one of you unable to recite a third of the Qur'an every night? قالوا, they said, Ya Rasulullah, كيف ya Rasulullah, how, Messenger of Allah? He says, Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, Surah Ikhlas is equal to a third of the Qur'an. Thuluth al-Qur'an. This is related by Bukhari, an authority of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu. Muslim also brings an authority of Abi Darda radiyallahu anhu. فهذه السورة, this surah is equal to a third of the Qur'an. في جزاء لا في أجزاء. في جزاء لا في أجزاء. Meaning in reward, not in its actual portion that it takes up of the Mus'haf. The actual portion that it takes up is much smaller. But in jaza, in its reward, it is a third of Qur'an. وذلك كما صبر النبي عليه السلام, as also as the Prophet said, من قال لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له ملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير عشر مرات, that he who says none has the right to be worshipped but Allah alone without any associate, for him is the ownership and for him is all the praise, and he has ability over all things 10 times, is as if he has freed 4 slaves from Bani Ismail, from the children of Ismail. Related by Bukhari and Muslim on the authority of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu. So the Sheikh says, so based on this, were you to read Surah Ikhlas in Salat 3 times, it would not be sufficient to take over Al-Fatiha. He's discussing this from the standpoint of it being a reward, not being an actual recitation or the actual length of the surah or whatever. Qala ulama, the scholars say that the aspect from which you understand it to equal a third of the Qur'an is that the Qur'an deals with many issues. The issues that the Qur'an deal with basically are khabra an Allah, information regarding Allah, wa khabra an makhluqat, information regarding the creatures, wa ahkam, and legislation. هذه ثلاثة. There are 3 things. خبر عن الله, information about Allah. قالوا in Surah قل هو الأحد. قل Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. And you see how Allah is one. This is what? Information about Allah. Khabr and makhluqat, information about the creatures, like when he informs us of the nations that came before us, informs us of incidents that took place, and incidents in the present, and incidents that would take place in the future, like this. The third one is ahkam, legislation, like aqimu, establish prayer, or establish prayer. Atu, give zakat. La tushriku, don't ascribe partners. وما أشبه ذلك, and what is similar to that. هذا أحسن ما قيل في قوله, and this is the best, Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah says, this is the best explanation he says for the fact that it equals a third of Qur'an. This is the best. That the Qur'an is split into these three matters: information regarding Allah, information regarding creatures, and regulations. Legislation or ahkam, regulations, however you want to put it. And so, based upon that, where does ikhlas fit in? Information regarding Allah. So that's a third of the Qur'an. قوله حيث يقول قل هو الله أحد. قل, say, is an address to anyone who is correct to address. He's addressing who? Anyone who it is correct to address. You get his point? We won't linger on that one then. So my brother said, وَسَبْ نُزُولِ هَذِهِ السُّورَةِ. The reason why this surah was revealed, أسباب النزول, purposes why surahs are revealed are very important. سبب نزول هذه السورة is that the mushrikeen said to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, صِفْ لَنَا رَبَّكَ, describe to us your Lord. And Allah tabarak ta'ala revealed this surah. This is related by Ahmad and Tirmidhi and Bayhaqi في أسماء الصفات وابن خزيمة والدارمي في رد الله الجحمية من حديث أبي بن قاب. وقال الحافظ في فتح أخرجه بيهقي بسند الجيد. Shaykh Nasir has declared it Sahih in Sunan al-Tirmidhi. Describe to us your Lord. So the Prophet ﷺ waited, and then he recited what Allah revealed to him regarding himself. Waqila, it's also stated, that's another reason, that بل يحوهم الذين زعموا أن الله خلق من كذا ومن كذا مما يقولون من مواد. That the Jews claim that Allah was created from this and this and that, from other things that you mentioned of material. فأنزل الله هذه السورة, so Allah revealed this surah. He says, and whether it's authentic, this sabab or not, and the reason the Shaykh is saying that, because some who say this hadith is not authentic. I think Shaykh Muqbil is of the viewpoint that this is not authentic. But as we said, Shaykh Nas and others say it's authentic. So he's saying, Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah is saying what? That, سواء صح السبب أم لم يصح. If it's true, the reason that, the particular reason that was revealed, that has been given, is true or not, doesn't matter. فعلينا إذا سئلنا أي سؤال عن الله أن نقول. But it's upon us, if we're asked about to describe Allah, to say, Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad. Right? Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad. And the Shaykh, of course, don't mean Akhi, because we got brothers in here, man, might take this a little different than the Shaykh intended. And he doesn't mean that somebody says, something regarding Allah, you say Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, like this, every time. No, he's saying that in a general sense, if we're asked to describe Allah Ta'ala, this is the best, you look at it like that, for the best way to describe him. Allah barak fikum. قوله قل هو الله أحد هو personal pronoun, right? ضمير. وأين مرجع? Where they go back? قيل إنه مرجعه مسؤول عنه. You go back to what? The one who was asked about. كان يقول الذي سألتم عنه الله. The one that you asked about Allah, هو, he is, الله. وقيل هو ضمير الشأن. وهو الله. وأحد. So the Shaykh goes into describing us where is the khabar and the mubtada in this, and for some of our brothers that is not going to help them, so we go on. Allahu. This is the name of Allah Ta'ala. This is the name of the, as he put it, Dhatillahi Tabaraka Ta'ala. The essence of Allah Tabaraka Ta'ala. Al-Mukhtassu Billahi Azza wal Jal. This is a name that is particular of Allah Azza wa Jal. No one other than Allah has this name, or should have this name. Huh? وَكُلُّ مَا يَأْتِي بَعْدَهُ مِنْ أَسْمَاءِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ تَابٍ لَهُ إِلَى ظَاهِرًا. And every name that comes after it from the names of Allah, follow this name except rarely, in rare circumstances. Rare circumstances. وَمَعْنَ Allah al-Ilah, the one to be worshipped. Ma'alu ayyi ma'bud, the one to be worshipped. But the Arabs like to make things easy. The Arabs of the past. Maybe some of the Arabs of the present. Well, I got the Arabs back to the Rushd. And all of the Ummah. But since they are supposed to be in the Sadara, the leadership, they got to get themselves together, man. يعني اللي تقرأ همزة away تخفيفا لكثر استعمال. And the Arabs like to make things تخفيف, have some lightness. Because of استعمال, if you use something a lot, why should I have to go, say this and this and this together when I can just make it easy? Come في الناس, when, like we say, الناس, right? When really the word is al-unas. But since people are going to say nas, 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 they don't want to say al-unas, al-unas. That's difficult. So the Arabs make things what? Lighter. So similarly, the name Allah. It comes from al-ilah, but since the people use it a lot, just say Allah like that. Ahadun. Ahadun does not come except in a form of denying, غالبا, in majority of cases. أو في إثبات أيام الأسبوع, or you only affirm it in the days of the week. Days of the week. How you know the days of the week in Arabic? Come on. I'm not going to even ask that question. Al-Ahad. Al-Ahad. Al-Ithnain. And then what? Al-Thulatha. Al-Arbi'a. You got that one right. Khamis. Jum'ah. Sabt, huh? لكن تأتي إثبات موصوف بها رب عز وجل. When it comes in affirmative, it describes Allah عز وجل. لأنه سبحانه وتعالى أحد. And he's the one سبحانه وتعالى. متواحد, he's exclusive to that which is particular of him. In his self, and in his names, and in his qualities, and in his actions. أحد لا ثاني له. The one, there's no second to him. ولا نظير, no equal to him. ولا ند. No equal, no share. No one similar to Allah تبارك وتعالى. قالوا الله الصمد. الله الصمد. يعني الصمد. ما معنى الصمد? يعني since it means, when you say it like that, by putting Allah in front of it, Allahu Samad means Allah wahdahu as-Samad. Allah alone, he is as-Samad. Allahu as-Samad. معنى الصمد قيل أن الصمد هو الكامل. If you don't remember all of these, brothers, at least remember one. As-Samad al-Kamil, the perfect one. This is taken from Ibn Abbas. He doesn't mention that, but this is tafsir of Ibn Abbas regarding this issue. And he takes all the qualities and he says he's the one who's perfect in all these qualities. So he said al-Kamil, the perfect in his knowledge, perfect in his power, perfect in his wisdom, perfect in his honor, perfect in his lordship, perfect like this. That's as-Samad, the one who's perfect in all of that. في كل صفاته, in all his qualities, he's perfect. وقيل as-Samad الذي لا جوف له, and the one who has no opening, and no intestines, no stomach. ولهذا قيل الملائكة, because this is said the angels are samadun, or samad, because they don't have intestines, or they don't have stomachs. Don't get heavy with that either. Next we have brothers sitting around talking about the various physical parts of the angels. He's just giving you a little ilm. It's a little ilm. لا يأكلون, they don't eat. وَلَا يَشْرَبُونَ. They don't drink. This has been related, he does mention it now. This has been related by Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. Huh? رواه ابن عباس يعني ابن عباس قصح المجاهد الثمر الذي لا جوف له. Mujahid said الثمر الذي لا جوف, the one who doesn't have an opening. Because narrator Ibn Abbas has come with a da'if sanad in this particular one that he brought. Even though others have authenticated, like Ibn Kathir and others, like this. ولا ينافي المعنى الأول, يعني it doesn't go against the second meaning, because it means that he is self-sufficient. And this is how it's usually translated in English. The self-sufficient one whom all creatures need. Right? Like that. The self-sufficient one whom all creatures need. And غناء نفسه عن جميع خلقه, he's rich and self-sufficient. He doesn't need any of his creatures. وقيل الصمد بمعنى مفعول أي المصمود إليه. يعني in this sense, it's the one, he's the one who the creatures get their needs from. الخلائق في هوائجها. The creatures get their needs from. يعني the creatures lean towards him. The creatures raise their hands towards him. The creatures are in need of him. يحتاج إليه يعني هو الذي يحتاج إليه كل أحد. He's the one that everybody needs. And he doesn't need anyone. But everybody needs him. هذه أقاويل, all of these statements, none of them nullify the other in regards to being connected to Allah Ta'ala. So we say, in the ma'ani kullaha thabita, all the meanings that we have just expressed regarding as-samad and what it means, the Shaykh says all of them are thabit, fixed, firm. Okay, or accurate. Okay. Huh? Because there's nothing that excludes them or makes them improper or makes them contradictory one to another. So they are what? All acceptable. What tafsiruhu bi tafsir jami'. Now the Shaykh says to give it a tafsir that is jami', that is inclusive. فَنَقُول, we say, as-samadu, he is the one who's perfect in all his qualities, who all the creatures need, whom all the creatures are in need of, and they depend upon him, or call upon him, or invoke him, like this. This is the best way to say it. The one who's perfect in all his qualities, who all the creatures need, and call upon him, and like this. وَحِينَئِذٍ, therefore, it gives us a great ma'na adim, a great meaning in this word as-samad. أنه مستقنع عن كل ما سواه, that Allah Ta'ala is free and rich and in no need of anything whatsoever. Mustaqnin, and rich, free of and kulli ma siwah, doesn't need anything. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kamil, perfect, fi kulli ma yusaf bih, in whatever or in every manner he has been described, he is perfect. Wana jami', and all, what all that word means, are in need of him and are poor in their very essence and in constant need of him. The thing that we have in common with every creature is iftiqar, poorness. We are poor. And our essence, in our very essence, we are in constant need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَوْ قَالَ لَكَ كَائِلٌ. So if someone said to you, after you understand a summit now, the Sheikh is going to tell us something. Now you understand what a summit is? If someone says to you, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اسْتَوَى عَلَى الْعَرْشِ, there Allah arose on the throne. Was this arising over the throne because he was in need of the throne? So such agree that if the throne was removed, he would fall? فَالْجَوَابِ, the answer, la, no. Kalla, definitely no. لِأَنَّ اللَّهَ, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, samad, perfect what? In all his qualities. And samad, غير محتاج, not in need of anyone else. You just learned this. You just learned this. Come on, we just went over that. Let's try it again. We're going to try it again. We just learned what a summit means. Gave us tafsir of it. I better do something else. You're going to think I'm picking on him. A summit. أنه مستقنع عن كل ما سواه. He's the one who is free of all wants, rich and doesn't need anyone. كامل في كل ما يوصف به. Perfect. With every attribute that is ascribed to him, he's perfect. وأنا جميع. I think I said it just like that last. وأنا جميع, and all others, all creatures, مفتقر إليه, are in need of him. Are in need of him. So if someone says to you, there Allah rose over the throne, was his arriving on the throne and meaning that he was in need of the throne to such a degree that if it was removed from him he would fall? فالجواب, the answer, لا, no. كلا, definitely no. لأن الله الصمد, because Allah is samad. And kamil, perfect. Not in need of the arsh. Right? So he's not in need of anything. But an arsh, the throne, والسماوات, the heavens, والكرسي, the footstool, والمخلوقات, all the creatures, كلها محتاجة إلى الله. All of them are in need of Allah. والله في غنى عنها. And Allah is free and rich from all of it. Not in need of none of it. فنأخذ من كلمة الصمد. So we take from the word الصمد this matter that we have said. لو قال قائل, if someone was to say, does Allah eat? Does Allah drink? أقول, we say, كلا, definitely no. لأن الله الصمد, because Allah is a samad. Well, we have a na'araf and a samad. We know that now in a samad, brothers. Kalimatul Jamiyah is the all-inclusive word. لِجَمِيعِ صِفَاتِ الْكِمَالِ, for every quality of perfection for Allah Tabarak Ta'ala. وَجَامِيَةٌ, you with me? Comprehensive word. Huh? لِجَمِيعِ صِفَاتِ النَّقْصِ مَخْلُوقَاتِ, for every deficiency that the creatures have. Yes. Because by affirming the total perfection for Allah, anything and everything else besides him is what? Imperfect. Confirming riches to Allah, anything else is what? Poor. Confirming power, ability, and strength to Allah, anything and anything else is what? هكذا. وأنها محتاجة إلى الله, and it is in need of Allah Azza wa Jal. And we just took qulu wal had, Allah Samad. ثم قال, then he said, لن يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. This is ta'qeed. This is affirmation of the two qualities we just took. As-Samadiyyah, that Allah is a Samad, wal-Wahdaniyyah, that Allah is one. وَقُلْنَا تَوْقِيلِ إِنَّنَا نَفْحَمْ هَذَا مِنْ مَصَابِقٍ. The reason that we say it's an affirmation is called saying, لَمْ يَلِيدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ. We understood that from what we just took. Didn't we? هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. He's alone, one by himself. No son, no daughter, nothing. Right? No wife. Ahad, one. Allahu Samad, perfect. Not needing anyone or anything else. So this is why when it comes lan yalid walam yulad, this is what affirmation of what we just took. We understood this. We understood this. فيكون ذكره توكيد بمعنى ما سبق وتقرير له. So therefore the fact that Allah mentioned it is just affirming, pressing the point, and making it clear to us. فهو لأحد, because he's one, and because he's a samad, he لم يلد. لم يلد لأن ولد يكون على مثل الوالد في خلقه في صفة وهذا الشبه. فهو لم يلد, he didn't have a son because the son will be similar to the father in his the way that he is created, or his physical features and his qualities. And this is something that is what? Mumtani'ah, impossible regarding Allah. That anything or anyone will be similar to him. Because Allah says, Ahad. Ahad, akhi. No thani. Nothing similar. Nothing looking like him. Nothing having any qualities that Allah ta'ala. And those who have attended these lectures, and I think this is number 29 or 30, I don't know. Those who have attended these durus know that we make it very clear from the door that believing in any type of similarity between Allah Ta'ala and his creatures is kufr. I think we probably shouted that till our voices were lost. Brother Kid, next day he was hoarse. Right? That no similarity exists between Allah Ta'ala and his creatures. No matter what you hear from what Allah attributes to himself. Allah Ta'ala attributes a face, that's a face, and nothing is similar to that face. Hands, that's hands, and nothing is similar to those hands. Don't think about it. Don't even try it. Alright? It's kufr. Nothing is similar to Allah Ta'ala. Because ahadiyya, yani he subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. لأحديته وصمديته لم يلد. لما جاء. He talks about when Majzar al-Mutlaji, you see this narration, if you in Bukhari, common narration. They had these people who were able to tell who related to others by just looking at them. Right? And this hadith is well known to the degree the brother already saying feet. I ain't even started reading it yet. It's how well known the hadith is. Hadith mashhur jiddan. No, you know. It's well known as إنما الأعمال النيات. لا يؤمن أحدهم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. You know, Muslim كأخو Muslim. This is well known. This is well known hadith. Anyway, he went to Zayd ibn Haritha and his son Usama, and they were laying under a cover, but their feet were exposed. He looked at the feet of both of them and said, "These feet belong together." Honey, these are the feet are related. These feet are related by looking at them. Huh? This the Sheikh is bringing to prove the fact that the son generally looks like the father in some shape, fashion, or form. And since this is impossible for Allah Ta'ala, one of the reasons that proves that he subhanahu wa ta'ala could not possibly have a son. So this is perfection in him being one. It is perfection in him being samad, lam yalid. والوالد محتاج الولد بخدمة ونفقة ويعني عند العجز ويبقى نسله لم يلد ولم يولد. And also, and because Allah Ta'ala is a samad, he's not in need of a father. Or put it this way, he's still talking about son. He's not in need of a son. Gotta keep my review on the alif. The difference between al-walad and al-walid. Walid is the father, walad is the son. So, and he's not in need of a son to service him. You know how you get older, your sons do more for you than you might do for yourself. Alright? Nafaqa, they might spend on you. Say, boy, I spent on you all your life, you better spend on me. Alright? Nafaqa, I took care of you, you gotta take care of me. Or, the brothers got cut off. I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll continue. Wanafaqa, and somebody who might help him when he's unable to do that. And also to have a progeny. So the family can go on, right? Allah Ta'ala is not in need of any of that. Not in need of any of that. وَلَمْ يُولَدْ لأن لو ولد لكان مسبوقا بوالد مع أنه جل وعلا هو الأول الذي ليس قبله شيء هو خالق وما سواها مخلوق فكيف يولد. So also he was not born. They use this term begat.
I don't think anybody in this room understands what that means. He said, well, he does not begotten, nor was he begotten. I mean, I don't think anybody knows what that means when you're actually akhi. You know, he was not begotten. You know, what does it mean? But they put these stuff in the books, and you see, a whole generation of Muslims, that's what they think. Don't know nothing about ikhlas but that. SubhanAllah. So, because if Allah Ta'ala had been born, then that means he would have been preceded by someone. And Allah Ta'ala, huwa al-awwal, he's the first, alladhi laysa qablahu shay, which there's nothing before him. Wa huwa khaliq, he's the creator. Wa ma siwahu makhluq, and what is besides him is what? Creation. There exist two things, a khaliq wal makhluq. Where you at? You still laughing about begotten? Come on, man, we're done with that. We're moving on, akhi. So hakadha, yani, this is a good way to give da'wah to. Let them know al-khaliq wal-makhluq. That's the creator and the creatures. That's it. Allah Ta'ala, He's alone is the creator. And anyone and everyone besides him is creation. Oh, that's strong, man. Think about it. Strong. So therefore, how could he have been born from anyone? وإن كانه ولد أبلغ في العقوب من إنكار أنه والد. لهذا لم يدع أحدا الله والدا ودعا المفترون أن له ولد. And he said to deny here that he was born is stronger and has a more impression on the mind than saying he doesn't have a father or something like that. You know? Because you never heard anybody saying that Allah has a father. Thing that has to be refuted first. بل قال ما اتخذ الله من ولد. He says Allah did not take his son. And we have to step up our da'wah on this issue. Going away from the nas for a second, the text of the Shaykh, I had to step it up. The da'wah, this thing is getting ridiculous. And it's all in the papers, it's everywhere, it's getting foolish. It's getting real ridiculous. You know, you got generals and stuff saying that, my God, Jesus is stronger than Allah and all this. Fool. Doesn't even know who Allah Ta'ala is. As Allah says, مَا قَدَرَ اللَّهِ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. They did not give a just estimate to Allah. These guys are getting kind of, brash and rash, and I'll lie with this thing. They need to be put back in check as to what this issue is. And that's for the hamalat al-tawheed, the carriers of tawheed, to jump in these people's face and let them know, what the deal is with the oneness of Allah Ta'ala and the correct belief regarding this issue. Particularly the Christians. Man, I'm so tired of the Christians. So this has to be dealt with. مَا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ وَلَدٍ. Allah has not taken his son. حَتَّى وَلَوْ بِالتَّسْمِيَةِ, even to the degree of giving him a name. فَهُوَ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يَتَّخِذْ وَلَدًا. He did not give birth to anyone, or as they say, beget. وَلَمْ يَتَّخِذْ وَلَدًا, nor did he take a son. Banu Adam, children of Adam, might take a son. Even though he's not his son, he might, as they say, adopt him. Or might take him some other way. Even though adoption, as he says, is not legislated. Allah Azza wa Jal, regarding Allah Azza wa Jal, فَلَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ. He did not give birth, nor was he given birth to. ولما كان يرجع لذهن فرد أن يكون الشيء لا والد ولا مولود لكنه متولد نفي هذا وهم الذي قد يرد فقال ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. He says, since it might come to the mind of people, that's something that doesn't have a father and wasn't born, but was brought, or something could be brought or connected to it in some other fashion. He said, لم يكن له كفوا أحد. And he does not have any equal whatsoever. No equal whatsoever. وَلَمْ ولم يكن له كفوا أحد أي لا يكافيه أحد في جميع صفاته. No one is equal to him in his qualities. في هذه السورة, in this surah, صفات ثبوتية وصفات سلبية. صفات ثبوتية, things that Allah Ta'ala affirmed for himself, وصفات سلبية, things that Allah Ta'ala denied from himself. الصفات الثبوتية, Allahu, that Allah, and that talking about uluhiyyah, the fact that Allah should be worshipped. Because when you hear Allah, the name, now you know it comes from al-ilah, the one to be worshipped. Ahadun, it means that He is one and alone. As-samadu means the samadiyya, which we talked about before. Right? The one who is perfect in all his qualities, rich and not in need of no one, and all the creatures are in need of him. Wasifat salbiyya, the things that he denied from himself, that he was born, or that he has any children, or that there's anything similar or anyone similar to him. Thalatha ithbat, 3 things he affirmed. Thalatha nafi, 3 things he denied. وهذا النفي يتضمن من إثبات كمال أحدية وسمدية. As we say, Allah don't deny anything except that there's something to affirm behind it. And what he denied here, that he had a son, or that he was born, or that or that he has an equal, proves that he subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, proves that he subhanahu wa ta'ala is truly a samad. هذا ما عندنا يعني هذا في هذا قدر كفاية. And when we pick up, it looks like we'll be dealing with ayatul kursi. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد. نعم. السلام. The bookstore. He wants the bookstore. Just a moment. Huh? What? Yeah, what about it? It's not going to be his so much as it might have something similar, but it's Ibn Taymiyyah. Huh? It's solid shit, Amar. Yeah, I guess so. There seems no questions, right? This is Aqidah al Wasitiyyah. There's not no question. Gentlemen.